I usually don't talk about this. Not online, not with friends, not even with myself. But something about saying it out loud feels like scratching a wound that never healed. So listen carefully. I'm not telling you a story. I'm telling you what happened to me, Ryan, Holly, and Alicia when we went on a small tour last fall. If you think I'm lying, that's fine. I used to think the same way about people who said they saw things. But I didn't see it. I felt it. And that's worse. We picked a quiet mountain town in the US called Ashford Hollow. It had no famous spots, no big hotels, no tourists. That's why we chose it. Ryan wanted nature, Holly wanted photos, Alicia just wanted silence. When we arrived, the silence was heavier than we expected. The streets were clean but empty. The diner lights were on, but nobody was inside. A few locals stood near their houses, not talking, not moving much, just watching us like we were out of place. I joked about it, but inside, something felt off. The hotel was old. Not charming old, more like forgotten old. The receptionist barely looked at us. He handed me the key and said, "Keep your things close." That was it. No smile, no welcome, just that line. At night, I heard footsteps outside our room. Slow, careful. Someone touched the door handle. I looked at Ryan. He was asleep. Holly was awake. Alicia whispered, "You heard it too, right?" I nodded. When I opened the door, the hallway was empty, but the carpet looked pressed, like someone had been standing there for a long time. The next day, we went hiking near some old ruins. Trees everywhere. No birds, no sound. I dropped my backpack beside a rock. Inside it was my phone, money, IDs, everything. Ryan was joking around. Holly was taking pictures. Alicia was walking near the trees. I turned my head for a second. When I looked back, my bag was gone. Just gone. No footsteps, no people, no movement. We searched everywhere. Only our footprints were in the dirt. Holly's voice changed. "This isn't funny." Ryan tried to laugh, but his eyes were shaking. Alicia kept staring at the forest like it was watching her back. When we returned to the hotel, the receptionist wasn't surprised. He said, "Things get taken here." I asked who took it. He leaned close and whispered, "Sometimes nobody." Then he gave me an address and said, "If you want answers, go there. But don't read anything you don't understand." We went. The place was an old building behind the diner. Dark windows, no sign. Inside, dust, broken shelves, and one table in the center. On it, a single book. The cover felt wrong, like dry skin. No title, no author. Holly said the air above it felt warm. Alicia refused to touch it. Ryan dared me to open it. I opened the first page. It said, "Read and you will arrive." Under that sentence, there was an empty space, like it was waiting for someone's name. After I saw that sentence, "Read and you will arrive," I laughed once, like an idiot. Not because it was funny, because my brain didn't know what else to do. Ryan leaned in close and said, "It's just some weird tourist prop, like an escape room." Holly didn't laugh. She kept staring at the blank space under the sentence, the way people stare at a dark road when they think something is coming. Alicia stayed 2 steps back, arms crossed, whispering, "Don't read it. Please don't." And listen, if you've ever ignored a warning because it sounded too dramatic, you already know what happened next. Ryan picked up the book like it weighed nothing. The cover looked dry, cracked, wrong, like it wasn't made for hands. He flipped a few pages. Most of it was writing, but not like normal writing. The words felt tight, like they were holding something inside. Ryan cleared his throat and read the first line of a chapter out loud. Just one line. That's all it took. The air changed. Not slowly, not maybe. It snapped. Like someone turned off the world we knew and turned on another one. The dusty room didn't fade away, it moved. The walls pulled back like curtains. The floor tilted, my stomach dropped, and suddenly we were standing outside, in the exact same street behind the diner. But it wasn't day anymore. It was night. A thick, unnatural night. The sky looked bruised, like a storm was trapped above us but never breaking. The building behind us was still there, but the windows weren't dark anymore. They were black in a deeper way, like holes. Holly grabbed my sleeve so hard it hurt. Alicia didn't scream. She just made a sound like her breath forgot how to work. Ryan whispered, "No way, no way." But his voice sounded far away, like we were hearing him through water. I checked my phone that was stolen with my bag. Somehow, it was in my pocket now. The screen was on. The time was wrong. The date was wrong. The battery showed 0%, but it didn't die. It kept glowing like it was trying to warn me. Okay, I told you I'm logical, right? I tried logic. I tried, we're dreaming. I tried, we fainted. I tried, gas leak. But the air smelled like cold ink and wet soil, and the silence had weight. Then we heard it. Footsteps, coming from the diner area, slow and careful, like last night at the hotel door. We hid behind a fence without even speaking, because fear makes decisions faster than the brain. A figure walked into the streetlight. It looked human, but it moved wrong, like its joints remembered being human but didn't know how to do it anymore. It paused and turned its head without turning its body. I swear it turned toward us, straight toward us, without eyes that I could see. Then it spoke. Not loud, not clear, like a voice trying to crawl out of a throat that wasn't meant for it. It said my name. If you've never heard your own name in the dark from something you can't explain, you're lucky. Because your name is not just a word in that moment, it's a hook. And that hook caught my chest so hard I almost couldn't breathe. Holly covered her mouth. Alicia's hands were shaking like she was cold from the inside. Ryan clutched the book to his chest and whispered, "It knows us." We ran back toward the hotel, but the streets didn't behave. A turn that should have taken us to the lodge brought us back to the diner. Another turn brought us to the same corner again. The town was looping us like a thought you can't escape. And everywhere, in windows, in dark glass, in reflections that shouldn't exist, there were shapes standing too still, watching. Not jumping out, not chasing, just waiting, like the whole place had patience. We finally reached the Hollow Lodge. The sign was there, but the letters looked faded, like the building had been abandoned for years. The lobby lights were on, but no staff. The keys were still hanging behind the desk. Holly said, "We should stay together." Alicia whispered, "We're not supposed to be here." Ryan, shaking but still trying to be brave, flipped the book open again. "The book did this," he said. "The book can undo it." Alicia grabbed his wrist. "Don't read it again." Ryan snapped, "Then what do you want me to do? Pray?" Holly said softly, "Ryan, look at the page." I looked. There was writing that wasn't there before. fresh ink, like it had been written a second ago. And under a chapter title, I saw a line that made my stomach go ice. Ryan read to escape. Then another line appeared, slow, like a hand was writing it while we watched. Ryan will arrive alone. Ryan laughed once, sharp and scared. It's messing with us. He forced his voice to sound normal and read the next sentence anyway, just to prove he could, just to prove he was in control. He got halfway through the line, and then he was gone. Not like he ran, not like he fell. Gone like someone erased him from the air. His hands were still in the motion of holding the book, but the book dropped to the floor by itself. Holly screamed Ryan's name. Alicia collapsed against the wall, crying silently like she already knew this would happen. I stood there staring at the empty space where my friend had been, and I realized something that made my skin crawl. The town didn't take Ryan. The book did. Holly picked up the book with trembling hands, flipping pages like she was searching for a rule, a loophole, anything. Alicia kept saying, "This is punishment. This is punishment," over and over like a prayer. Then Holly stopped on a page and went pale. "He's here," she whispered. The page described a place I'd never seen, but my brain recognized it like a nightmare you've had before. A narrow hallway, a door at the end, a soft knocking, and a sentence that ended with, "Ryan will open the door because he thinks it is his friend." I grabbed the book and slammed it shut. "No," I said out loud. No dot, no joke, just a raw word that felt like it came from my bones. Then, under my fingers, the cover warmed. It didn't feel like leather anymore. It felt like skin with heat beneath it. And I heard something. Not from the room, but from inside the book, like muffled breathing behind a wall. Alicia backed away. "It wants you next." That's when Holly noticed the blank space on the first page again. The space under "Read and you will arrive." It wasn't blank anymore. A faint indent had formed, like letters pressed from the other side. My name. Not ink, not written, more like my name was becoming part of the paper. We tried to leave. We ran outside. The town repeated itself again and again. The same porch, the same dead streetlight, the same diner sign blinking like a heartbeat that couldn't stop. Finally, Holly stopped and looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "Maybe we already arrived. Maybe we arrived a long time ago." Alicia shook her head hard. "No, no, don't say that." But her voice sounded small, like she was convincing herself, not me. Then I heard it again. Footsteps, the careful kind. And this time it wasn't outside. It was right behind us. I turned and I saw the receptionist from the hotel. The same face, the same posture. But the expression was empty, like his emotions had been removed and only the body was left. He held out my backpack, the one that was stolen. It looked older now, stained, heavy, like it had traveled without us. "Your things," he said softly. Then he looked at the book in my hand. "You were always going to open it." Holly whispered, "What is this place?" He answered without blinking, "A chapter." Alicia's voice cracked. "How do we wake up?" The receptionist tilted his head, almost curious. "Wake up?" And that word, "wake up," hit me like a memory I didn't want. A flash, white lights, a beep, a smell of disinfectant, my mother's voice saying my name. I staggered, suddenly dizzy. The town blurred. My ears rang. The sky pressed down like a hand. I grabbed my head and the book slipped. When it hit the ground, it opened by itself to a page I had never seen. It wasn't a chapter, it was a record. It listed dates, hospital dates, a room number, a name, mine, followed by a line that made Holly gasp. Patient has been unresponsive for 12 years. My throat went dry. That's not real, I whispered. But the more I stared, the more my brain accepted it like a truth it had been hiding from. The town shuddered. The diner sign flickered faster. The shadows in the windows leaned closer. And from far away, like from the end of a long tunnel, I heard a real voice. Not Ryan, not Holly, not Alicia. A doctor. "Can you hear me?" the voice said. "If you can hear me, squeeze my hand." Everything around me started pulling apart, like paper being torn. The hotel folded in on itself. The streetlights bent. Holly reached for me, crying, "Don't leave me here." Alicia screamed, "Don't forget us!" But their voices sounded like they were coming from inside the book now, not from the town. And listen, this is the darkest part, because I don't know what's true anymore. I woke up in a hospital bed under bright lights. My arms looked thinner than I remembered. A nurse was crying. My mother looked older, so much older that my chest hurt. The doctor was smiling like he'd just seen a miracle. "Welcome back," he said. "You've been gone a long time." I tried to speak, but my mouth shook. The doctor asked where I was, what day it was, if I knew my name. I answered like a machine. I wanted to believe it. I wanted to believe the tour was a coma dream. I wanted to believe Ryan, Holly, and Alicia were just my brain making characters out of noise and fear. Then the nurse placed my personal items on the table beside the bed, and on top of them was a book with a dark leather cover. No title, no author. The doctor didn't put it there. My mother didn't touch it. The nurse looked confused and said, "That wasn't here a second ago." I stared at it, breathing shallow, because somewhere deep inside me, I already knew what the first page would say. The cover felt warm, like it remembered my hands. I didn't want to open it. I didn't, I swear. But the book opened by itself. The first page read, "Read, and you will arrive." And under that sentence, a new blank space appeared. Not for my name this time, for yours. So, if you're still listening right now, answer me honestly. Did you feel anything strange while I was telling this, even for 1 second? Because if you did, then maybe you didn't just hear my story. Maybe you just stepped into it. The end.